Mohawk Valley phenomenon here, guys. I hope everybody's week was a good week. Just stay tuned to the end of this video. There's an explanation. I have another video coming up right after this. I'm going to try and load these videos both at the same time, and you'll understand why when I get towards the end of this video. I'll explain that to you. And I just wanted to do a quick update with CERRO GORDO there and K2 mining that was coming into their, supposedly digging a huge open pit mine there. It was amazing the support that I saw just on my little channel there. I think we're over 400 views on that video. It's the most views I've had on any video. So that's great for Brent. He really needs that. And if anybody can comment, watch his last video on that whole situation there. I don't want to put words in his mouth or anybody else's mouth for that matter, but he does need some help with that area, and hopefully he can come up with something there to stop the mining projects that are going to be going on there. Usually he puts a video out every Saturday. I'm on top of it most of the time. I catch it and get to watch it, but this weekend for some reason he didn't put a video out. I don't know if it's usually he gives an update too on his community page. Maybe I just haven't seen that yet, but he should hopefully we'll hear something from him soon. I don't follow Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or anything like that, so I don't know. He might have updated people there. If you want to check those sites out, I'm sure he has links to those on his page. Okay, let's get into what I wanted to run by some news in this area. So I was checking out some sites my girlfriend Jessica had drawn some attention to me. So basically, we're going to get on the subject of UFOs a little bit here. In upstate New York, UFOs nearly doubled in 2020 compared to 2019. There were 89 UFO reports in 2019 compared to 162 in 2020. The state as a whole had 310. So the 162 was just strictly for upstate New York. These numbers, they come from the National UFO Reporting Center. And here's some towns, the reported sightings that are in a town, how many there were. Rochester, New York had 10. West Chazy, 8. Utica, 6. 3 in Carmel, and 3 in Kingston. Now these cities, you know, and that's not all. Obviously, there's quite a few more. I have those written down too. For 2 or more sightings, there was 19 towns, and for one sighting per town, there's 79 towns with at least one sighting in upstate New York. That's pretty crazy. There's I even filed a report last year in 2020. Yeah, it was 2020. I filed mine on MUFON, and this one's the National UFO Reporting Center, and I didn't see my report on this, so they're not collecting all the data either. And the amazing thing to me is how many people don't actually report these sightings. How many of you out there have had these sightings? And you know, just you know, classic UFO. You see a light and you just can't, you know, it's unidentified. You can't identify it. I've had a few that were just your atypical lights in the sky that you just couldn't explain. You knew it wasn't a plane. You know, it was just, there's one in particular, a sighting that I had that happened between Fort Plain and Canajoharie. We'll get into that a little bit later in another episode. I'm going to do a whole episode on UFOs in this area. There are a few other things I wanted to just looking at my notes here, people. I'm sorry. This is a little slow tonight for me. So I do want to get into the UFO stuff, but I want to finish up with my family stories first, with Sasquatch and Sabe. and Bigfoot, however you term, whatever term you wish to use with that name is fine with me. So basically, there's a few sightings I want to preface before I tell you our story, and our story is going to consist of telling the story and being on the location where it was, because it was nearby here, and my daughter's sighting in the backyard here too. I got to wrangle her and get her to finish up the Grim Reaper stories with us, and tell her Sasquatch story up here that she had seen. So one of the biggest sightings in this area that had happened, and it's very popular, it's been on quite a few documentaries, was in 1976, was the encounter with a Sasquatch or a cryptid entity in Whitehall, New York in 1976. There were multiple witnesses over 2 days with just this single appearance, and many of those people were police officers. They were the main, that's why that gained so much publicity, is because the police officers actually came forward and talked about that. And if you go to Whitehall, New York, you go through there and you'll see, a Sasquatch museum, and there's a bunch of history with Sasquatch there. And that's not the only encounter. That's the main encounter there. The creature was seen on Abear Road, 7 to 8 feet tall. These sheriffs or troopers, they get out of their car, and this thing, it growls at him or screams at him, and he's got a spotlight on it, and just scared him to death. So also I wanted to touch on, Steve put up a new video today on his channel, and a guy talks about an encounter. I believe he was Native American, and he was talking about an encounter that he had with his brother. And this is an email that was given to Steve. I'm not going to say it word for word, but he had an encounter with his brother with a Sasquatch, and I believe right after that encounter, he said that his brother became ill, and his brother ended up passing away within a year. And there was some kind of question there of, at least from what I can understand from watching the video, that might, the way that was written was that he thought that caused that. The brother that's still alive thought it caused his brother's death. And that goes back to these things being harbingers and, possibly, just a warning. I don't know if we think that is a warning, or is that mean something is absolutely bad is going to happen, or is that like a warning? Can if somebody sees that and we can educate enough people, is that like a warning? We can keep, perk our ears up a little bit and try to catch something before it happens within our families, or there's many reports of things going on like that, people seeing these creatures and them actually manifesting some illness. An accident happens in their family, the Grim Reaper, where Jessica and my daughter saw that Grim Reaper down there. I call it the Grim Reaper. It's a black entity to them. I was the one that made that comparison just because of all the past knowledge I have of all these weird stories I read all the time. But it's pretty weird, because right there where the thruway is, a tractor trailer came off the road, and right off the thruway down onto 5S where we were standing, and got in a pretty bad accident. And I have the date and time of another truck that rolled his truck and he was injured. I'm 100% sure he lived, but from what I read in that report, he said an animal ran out in front of him. Now, whether he was on his cell phone and he just used that for an excuse or not, but it was right there near that, right there at the beginning of Sprakers there. And that just perked my interest, because what if he really did swerve for possibly that thing that's down there and ended up wrecking his truck? He might not even ever tell anyone that that's what he saw. Eventually he might, but, you try to explain these things out of your mind before you, after you see something like that. Like, you try to think and rationalize and think, oh, maybe it's a, maybe it's a deer or something like that, But that's a pretty common thing people do, because I kind of got a giggle out of the second episode that my girlfriend and my daughter had, because the car that was in front of them was just flashing their brakes at them, and that creature walked right out in front of them. And where I kind of laughed a little bit was like, when I first realized that this stuff was actually happening, this is these things are real. It just shifts your brain. It changes your whole world. And I kind of giggled to myself, because I was thinking to myself, can you imagine if those people in that car never experienced anything like that, and that thing just walked into their life right then and there? It's insane to think about that, and what they probably went through that night, trying to rationalize what they saw. But I'm gonna finish up the video here. This is just a quick update for you guys. There's another video that's gonna pop up right after this, and it's going to be based on the area over in the Rural Grove State Forest. It's less than a mile from my home, and this is actually, let me shut this light off so we can see here. This is actually where I am. I hope you guys can see this. And I'm about, when I pull into the state forest here, the state forest is 2,000 acres here. When this video pops up, you're going to see me. I'm going to be like right at the beginning of the entrance here, and the entrance goes all the way down through here. It's all swampland through here too. And what I show you on there is pretty interesting. And whether the wind did that or, it's pretty interesting. So stay tuned. The next video will be up right directly after this one. So just to go over it one more time, the next videos are going to be on location, the encounters that my girlfriend and my daughter had with the Sasquatch, and those will be the next videos after the ones tonight, I should say, not the very next ones. And then we'll get into detail with that stuff, and I'll try to preface that whole thing with an encounter that, from somebody else that's happened around here. I know of a couple of them. We'll get to that, and be sure to watch the end of the end of this video, so to jump over and check that new video out that's coming out on the state land there. It's just me kind of explaining what's going on, what I thought was going on there. I could be wrong, but you guys, you all have a great night out there, and we'll try to get a couple more videos up here this week. I know it was a little bit of a dry spell there for me, but sometimes this subject just can get you down once in a while, I guess. But we'll keep going. We'll keep the videos coming. I hope you guys like the content. I hope I can make this channel a lot better in the future. Thank you for all your support, and have a great night, everybody. Thank you.